Ice Cube has come out and given everybody some brutal truth, and there is a portion of this that just tells you everything that we've been telling you. This is just confirmation. And what's hilarious is this is confirmation from the people that want to pay the money. Sponsors. Oh man, Angel Reese fans are gonna be pissed.
Angel Reese's public image is hitting turbulence. After riding a wave of media buzz into high-profile endorsement deals, the fallout is now unfolding in plain sight. One by one, those flashy sponsorships are starting to distance themselves. The criticism is getting louder. From Ice Cube's unfiltered remarks to fans who once applauded now questioning her brand authenticity, the Bayou Barbie persona has crashed into a harsh marketing reality. And the most ironic part? Everything began to unravel when Caitlin Clark walked into what was supposed to be Reese's stage and completely took over. All while Reese was sidelined, watching from the bench. If you're seeing clearly who the real needle mover is, drop a comment below saying needle mover. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it.
Sorry, Angel Reese. The $5 million offer was only for Caitlin Clark. Oh, fuck. It's about to get ugly. With the Big Three's $5 million offer to Caitlin Clark never coming to fruition, could a lucrative Angel Reese proposal be up next for the Hoops League? Tell me you don't know ball. I mean, honestly, don't count on it.
Not long ago, Angel Reese was being hailed as the WNBA's next big superstar, the face of a new generation. The influencer brands couldn't wait to align with. She was marketed as the golden ticket, the centerpiece of every headline. But that narrative flipped quicker than anyone anticipated. The media buzz started fading, corporate enthusiasm turned into nervous silence. And now the fairy tale is visibly falling apart. Companies that were once eager to ride the Angel Reese wave are now quietly backing out of the spotlight, distancing themselves from a brand they're no longer sure about.
What happened to Miss Angel Reese? She's all in Indiana during All-Star, and her Reebok campaign, come to your trap, take over your trap.
Behind closed doors, the situation is unraveling. Big budget campaigns built around Reese, some already deep into production, are now being shelved. Some are on indefinite hold, while others are being scrapped entirely. Marketing teams are crunching the numbers and facing an uncomfortable truth. The hype isn't converting, the audience engagement isn't meeting expectations, and the promised impact is falling short. What triggered this sudden industry wake-up call? A blunt, no-nonsense reality check delivered by Ice Cube himself. A mic drop moment that couldn't be ignored.
Personal, but it was business. That's all it is, business. Y'all gonna make it personal.
It took just one interview for the narrative to implode. Ice Cube didn't mince words. When questioned about why his Big Three league extended a $5 million offer to Caitlin Clark, and not to Angel Reese or any other player, his answer was sharp and deliberate. Cube's point was clear. Nobody was saying that about Angel Reese. In other words, the market wasn't sold. The brands and sponsors saw Clark as the true game changer, while Reese wasn't even part of the equation. That single statement cut through the noise and laid bare the industry's perception.
Ice Cube, they're about to come and get Ice Cube. We know how this works. It won't be long.
Cube didn't sugarcoat it. I'm not in the business of losing money, he declared. And with that, the facade came crashing down. That single remark carried more weight than any media headline could. If a figure like Ice Cube, for his cultural influence and business acumen, isn't ready to invest in Angel Reese, it forces every corporate decision-maker to reconsider. Why would major brands place their bets where seasoned entrepreneurs won't?
This is confirmation from the people that want to pay the money. Sponsors.
This goes beyond a missed endorsement. It's a narrative about perception unraveling, and in the world of branding, perception is king. Cube's candid remarks sent a ripple through corporate boardrooms, triggering immediate reassessments. You can almost imagine the hushed conversations. Are we truly moving forward with this Angel Reese campaign? The initial excitement began to fade, not in dramatic fashion, but in quiet, decisive ways. Not because Reese lacks talent, but because the on-the-ground impact wasn't living up to the social media buzz.
TMZ Sports caught up with Ice Cube himself at LAX this week, and the Big Three honcho said that there will be no deal put in front of Angel Reese anytime soon.
On the other hand, Caitlin Clark's trajectory tells a completely different story. When the Big Three extended that $5 million offer, it wasn't a gamble. It was a calculated, data-driven move. 10 games, $500,000 per appearance, with projections showing a clear return on investment. That's what happens when you're a proven attraction. Clark isn't just popular, she guarantees packed arenas, skyrocketing viewership, and real revenue. She's a business catalyst. Meanwhile, Angel Reese isn't even factoring into those high-stakes conversations.
Didn't tell us the same thing about Angel Reese.
Took over the city of Chicago, and this is the star power that Ice Cube was referring to. Every city, every state, anywhere in the world that she goes, it's gonna look like this.
This wasn't just a conversation about contracts or theoretical offers. While all this unfolded, Caitlin Clark was physically in Chicago, Angel Reese's supposed home turf, transforming the city into her own fan festival. Remember, Clark wasn't even suited up to play. She was sidelined with an injury, yet still drew massive crowds, chanting her name as if a new era of basketball royalty had arrived. In contrast, Angel was noticeably absent. Her once loud Reebok campaign had grown eerily quiet. One fan summed it up best. Clark didn't just show up, she completely took over.
Caitlin Clark went to Chicago and took the city over. It looked like she took the city over. CC with MJ. CC get treated like MJ in the rack. Oh my God.
That's the harsh truth staring Angel Reese in the face right now. Hype doesn't last forever. When decision makers handling multi-million-dollar marketing budgets sit down and analyze the real data, audience reach, engagement, conversion, RATES, Caitlin Clark stands head and shoulders above the rest, including the player once positioned as her rival. The numbers aren't even close.
I actually feel bad for Angel Reese at this point, and it has nothing to do with like how she's handled herself or anything. It's just simply Caitlin Clark is so much better than Angel Reese at basketball that it doesn't feel fair.
Yeah, I think Angel Reese is struggling with the fact that Caitlin Clark is better at her best thing than she is.
She's better at everything.
And
she had a triple-double. She's tied for the third most triple-doubles in WNBA history, and she's played 50 games.
Yeah.
This is the inevitable outcome when a player gets marketed heavily before demonstrating real staying power. It's the result of mistaking social media followers for sustainable value. Trendiness doesn't automatically convert into long-term revenue, and that illusion is fading quickly. The industry is beginning to realize it.
Wow, I'm not sure any other single, outside of just the pure numbers that we keep showing people, literal numbers.
The unraveling has officially started. It's not chaotic or headline grabbing, but it's real. Brand interest is quietly disappearing. Inquiries are drying up. New endorsements? Not on the table. And what's most telling, Ice Cube wasn't taking shots at Angel. He simply spoke facts. Facts that every executive in charge of tightening budgets and tracking real ROI already knew.
I understand your place sometime. Look, they talking about Caitlin Clark took over Angel Reese's trap. See, this is why you don't need to keep trying to take shots at her. She took the city over.
Angel Reese was once billed as the headliner, the next big sensation, but now she's fast becoming a textbook example of what happens when hype outpaces substance. As her spotlight dims, Caitlin Clark strides into Chicago and ignites a citywide uproar. This wasn't some subtle shift, it was a takeover in every sense, and remarkably, Clark wasn't even suited up to play. Yet, the crowd still embraced her, as if she owned the stage.
Caitlin Clark took over Chicago. She signed autographs for hours. This wasn't no extras that was paid to come stand in the scene. No, these were real people trying to get autographs.
With all merchandise, Sky we've got something for.
What Caitlin Clark accomplished that week wasn't just about grabbing headlines, it reshaped the entire tone of how the WNBA markets its stars. She didn't ride the existing narrative. She flipped it on its head and made it her own. Fans lined up around city blocks. People ditched work just to be part of the moment. Online, they crowned her Queen of the Rack. And it wasn't just a clever nickname. It resonated because it reflected reality.
Chicago, the Queen of the Rack. The biggest Barbie.
On the other side, Angel had the taglines, the endorsements, and a strong online footprint. But Caitlin Clark possessed something you can't package or fabricate: genuine authenticity. Fans resonate with her on a real level. They turn up for her not because of flashy marketing, but because of who she is. And that's exactly the kind of connection brands are eager to invest in.
I mean, outside of the fact you can't even get half the amount of people inside a LSU arena.
To make things even more complicated, Angel began fading from the scene right as Caitlin Clark's stardom was skyrocketing. 1 minute, she's on the injury report as questionable. The next, it's day-to-day. Now, no one's dismissing the severity of back issues, but fans notice patterns. The timing raised eyebrows. It didn't take long for whispers to turn into loud speculation. Was she sidestepping the spotlight to avoid a direct comparison?
I don't know how you could ever imagine, like, how can you compete with this? What?
Think about how that looks. Caitlin Clark drawing huge crowds and generating headline-grabbing ratings, while Angel Reese sits on the sidelines. One is surging in visibility, the other fades into the background. That kind of stark contrast makes corporate sponsors uneasy. Meanwhile, fans began speculating. Some believe her camp orchestrated a quiet exit from the spotlight. Others think she simply didn't want the smoke of a direct showdown. And in a media landscape that thrives on viral moments, who can really fault her for trying to avoid becoming one?
Angel Reese was not going to be able to bring in the amount of eyes for the sponsors and for the league for him to justify that offer.
Even Ice Cube's business advisors had spotted the shift early. Quietly, they tracked Angel Reese's engagement numbers and saw the decline, fewer clicks, dwindling buzz, and a noticeable drop in fan interaction. In the endorsement world, that's not a small detail. It's a glaring red flag, the kind that flashes like a giant scoreboard warning. The momentum is slipping.
So Ice Cube's literally saying, we sat down, looked at the actual figures, and the draw wasn't there. The fever wasn't there. Oh, no pun intended.
This is where the cold, hard data takes over. No narratives, no spin, just pure numbers. And those numbers are loud. Caitlin Clark's jersey sales are dominating the charts, pulling away from the pack like a freight train. Every game she suits up for becomes a sold-out event, regardless of the location. TV ratings, skyrocketing, often doubling or tripling the league's usual viewership. And don't assume this is limited to Indiana's fan base. Everywhere she goes, she's the main attraction. Every city becomes her stage.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar, not a female superstar. She is a superstar.
We were coming to see Caitlin Clark play.
She moves the needle. The WNBA has been looking for someone who moves the needle.
Angel Reese still commands attention. Her personality is magnetic, and the potential is undeniable. But when you stack up the numbers, it's clear we're talking about two very different tiers. Her jersey sales are solid, but far from even during her much-hyped homecoming exhibition against Brazil, LSU's arena struggled to reach half capacity. Without a viral moment or headline-grabbing controversy to spark the conversation, her impact just doesn't shift the culture or drive the numbers the way Caitlin Clark consistently does.
Cannot measure up. You don't have as many followers you have on Instagram. That is great. I will not take away from the fact that you are one of the bigger brands in the WNBA. You are a star in your own right, but you are not Caitlin Clark. It's a difference.
You can't ignore the gap. Sure, Angel Reese has a strong Instagram following, and that deserves recognition. She's built a brand, she's a notable figure in the WNBA, and undeniably a star in her own lane. But she's not Caitlin Clark. The comparison isn't even in the same league. That's why one phrase keeps surfacing in YouTube sports circles and corporate boardrooms alike. Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. When it comes to million-dollar endorsements, companies aren't gambling on hype, they're investing in proven returns. And Caitlin Clark is delivering those results. Plain and simple, the real conversation now is whether Angel's bold public image and off-court headlines are elevating her or quietly eroding her brand value. After the recent fan eruption in Chicago and Ice Cube's candid remarks, the answer is becoming harder to ignore. What Angel's facing isn't a minor career speed bump. It's a full-scale identity crisis. Not the polished, feel-good kind with a redemption arc, but the harsh version where brands pull back, public engagement softens, and the narrative spirals beyond control. For the first time, people are starting to ask, who is Angel Reese when Caitlin Clark isn't part of the story?
Come on, just leave it alone, Angel. And this is why I'm saying you be making yourself look crazy because in all actuality, there's no comparison between you guys.
This isn't just social media chatter or casual podcast talk anymore. It's a growing critique echoing from analysts, fans, and major sports outlets alike. The issue isn't simply that Angel Reese brings up Caitlin Clark. Frequently it's that she appears linked to her at every turn, whether it's an interview soundbite, a social media post, or a veiled comment. It all circles back to Clark, and that's where the perception starts to crack. As one YouTuber aptly pointed out, you've got the talent to stand on your own, so why not do it? That statement cuts to the heart of the situation. Angel Reese isn't a benchwarmer chasing headlines. She's a starter, a champion, and a highly marketable figure in her own right. But by constantly positioning herself in contrast to Clark, it gives the impression that her spotlight depends on Caitlin's presence. Instead of owning her narrative, she's inadvertently reinforcing the idea that the attention needs a Clark connection to resonate.
A lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
And this is exactly the point where the corporate world begins to pull back. Brands are drawn to buzz, sure, but what they value even more is reliability. They're not interested in viral turbulence. They want consistent, predictable returns on their investment. With Angel Reese, they were expecting a steady flame, but instead, they're getting unpredictable fireworks. That Reebok partnership wasn't just a typical endorsement. It was a bold bet on charisma over proven on-court consistency. It was a gamble on star power, banking on personality rather than performance metrics. But now, with the numbers falling short of expectations, what once looked like a high-profile win is starting to feel more like a miscalculated risk.
You need to stop trying to attach yourself to this girl at every turn, because she have officially come to your trap and taken over your trap.
Sponsors aren't interested in athletes who vanish from the spotlight. They invest in visibility, consistency, and upward momentum. They look for stars who shine steadily, not those who flare up with controversy and then fade into the background. If Angel Reese doesn't pivot and establish her identity outside of being the anti-Caitlin Clark, she'll continue to see opportunities slip away before negotiations even begin. That said, this isn't the end of the road, not by a long shot.
Business of losing money. So of course, Angel Reese couldn't get offered the 5 M's like Caitlin.
The door to a comeback is still wide open for Angel Reese if she's willing to leave the comparison game behind and embrace her authentic self. There's a redemption story waiting to unfold, the kind that fans love to get behind. Her talent, her charisma, her platform, they've never been in question. But it's time to shift the focus inward, to stop stacking herself up against someone who was never meant to be her rival in the first place.
What should have been a massive, huge day for your sponsors and for your network.
And that brings us to the million-dollar question, literally. What's next for Angel Reese? Does she face the noise, address the missed games, the quiet sponsor exits, the fading headlines? Or does she retreat, let the season pass by, and risk slipping into irrelevance? Because right now, the silence is louder than any controversy. Canceled appearances, injury absences, delayed campaigns. It's a narrative writing itself. And it's not the story she wants. But here's the reality. The blueprint for a comeback is right there. Clear the stage, cut the drama, drop the Barbie versus basketball queen act, lock in on the game. Let her skills make the statements. Fans aren't checking for side eyes and cryptic tweets. They want hoopers, legit ones. That's why Caitlin Clark is eating right. No, she does both. Angel can get there too, but not if she's stuck trying to outshine someone playing an entirely different game.
They can be honest. They have to say exactly what y'all want them to say. That's what it seems like.
Because here's the cold truth. Caitlin Clark isn't going anywhere. She's not just a rising star. She's the WNBA's foundation now. The league isn't just promoting her. It's building around her. That's not shade. That's data. So for Angel Reese, the choice is clear. Carve out her own lane, or keep drifting into traffic she's not equipped to navigate. And honestly, that lane is still wide open. Angel has every tool to thrive, but she's got to stop chasing Caitlin's spotlight like it's the only one that exists. The WNBA wants multiple superstars, but they need to be authentic, original, and confident enough to stand alone. This isn't a roast. It's a wake-up call. You can't claim a spotlight that was never yours to begin with. This isn't a bad press week. It's a reset moment. Because star power isn't about image, it's about impact. Caitlin Clark has already made hers. Angel's at the crossroads. The clout-chasing era. It's fading. Now it's decision time. Rewrite the narrative or get left behind. And for those still keeping score, the scoreboard isn't on Instagram. It's in the stats, the stands, and the sponsor checks. If you're riding with facts and you know who's the needle mover, drop needle mover in the comments. Smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the real story. Click the video on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next one.